So yesterday I made my pure Kashtira video, which as you guys are probably well aware by now, it really shows off that Kashtira are definitely missing a few of their key components before becoming the absolute top tier monstrosity that we all know them for. So now I've got that pure Mimia build out the way, let's talk about how we can currently use these cards in an actual competitive setting. Now technically, you can play these Kashtira cards basically anywhere, especially Fenrir. So I didn't really want to show off just chucking Fenrir in my deck list as just a buffed version of Pankatops. I want to show off how we can actually use these new Kashtira cards in a deck list where they're really going to synergize. And that's when I remembered something. I remembered there was currently an archetype that makes use of instant contact to summon out level 7 fusion monsters, which obviously have their effects negated, they can't attack, they're basically just normal monsters at that point that are only being used for their level 7. Because they want to use those level 7s as an extender to go with their various level 3 monsters to then summon out various different synchro monsters you guys are very familiar with by now. But what if we took those level 7 monsters, and rather than just being only material for going into these very disgusting synchro monsters, we also made them have various different broken effects. And that is where the Kashtiras come in. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before getting to the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of you watching this are even subscribed to the channel, meaning 65% of you haven't even subscribed yet. So if you guys are enjoying this content, we'll see more videos from me in the future, more deck lists and more guides from me in the future, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's get into this deck list. Alright, so for today's deck list, there really isn't a whole lot for me to go through since I'm not going to go through all the cards individually since you guys probably know what 90% of the cards in here do by now, if not all of them, since P.U.N.K isn't exactly the most unpopular deck list, Bystials are extremely popular, and the Kashtira stuff I already did a video on yesterday, so there isn't really a whole lot for me to talk about, except sort of explain to you again the synergies between these archetypes and the reason we're playing them all together. So the main reason we're playing these together is because your standard P.U.N.K combos are going to be ending on a bunch of level 3s, just as part of your standard combo. And if you have extra extenders in hand, you might end on even more level 3s. And this is going to lead to basically you summoning a whole bunch of level 10s because we're playing the Kashtiras, which are of course level 7s, and they're free special summons to the field. And if you open Unicorn or you start with a copy of Birth in hand, this card, it's going to make your time extremely easy. Because this thing, it will search for your Birth, then we use this card as part of a synchro summon with any of your level 3 tuners, since all these guys are level 3 tuners by the way. You're then going to go into a copy of a Baronne De Fleur, you can activate this card's effect, bring back the Unicorn or whichever Kashtira you have from the graveyard, from the banished tile, put it back on the field, and you can use it again with another level 3 to go into a copy of your Sword Soul Supreme, whatever this card's name, Sovereign or whatever. Basically leading on to you having you full standard P.U.N.K combo, ending on things like your Sharakusai, ready to synchro summoning to a copy of your Amazing Dragon during your opponent's turn. You'll have your trap cards set on your field, which will be searched for off a copy of your Madame over here. We'll have the 2 big synchro monsters on the field, and of course we have the field spell to draw a whole bunch of cards, ending on things like multiple Bystials in hand to deal with the Telement players, things like your Maxx's, your Ghost Ogres, your Ash Blossoms, and in general just ending on a really disgusting end field. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the decklist portion of the video. Now again, I do understand this decklist portion was a little bit shorter than normal, so if there's any questions or queries or comments you want to know about this particular decklist, or maybe there's something I missed, feel free to leave those questions in the comments down below and I'll try to get through them. Also keep in mind, if you guys have never played P.U.N.K before and you just have no idea how this decklist functions, feel free to check out my P.U.N.K combo guide on my channel, which basically covers the 2 standard basic combos for P.U.N.K. I'll leave a link to that at the top of the description and maybe leave it in the comments as well. So feel free to check that one out. It just basically shows how this decklist functions. Yes, it won't cover the new Kashtira stuff being added to P.U.N.K, but it's pretty self-explanatory how those cards are going to sort of slide into the decklist. Even just watching the replays in this video, you have a good understanding of just how those new cards are going to slot into the old P.U.N.K combos. So without further ado, let's just jump into some gameplay. Alright, so today I've got 4 replays to share with you guys. Now, be warned before we get into these replays, unfortunately today, despite playing like 13 or 14 games of this decklist, I was struggling so goddamn hard to get actual replays, because for some goddamn reason, every single player was conceding today. It was ridiculous. People just were conceding as soon as I started doing my P.U.N.K combo, or as soon as I started doing like anything. I'd Bystial a tier player that'd concede instantly. It just made things really hard to get actual replays today, so I tried my best, I gathered a few, and yeah, these are the ones I've got to show, which unfortunately, there's not that, the content in here isn't the greatest. It's going to show off everything I want to show off about the deck list and show off the good end boards and all the cool stuff the deck can do, but it's not going to be very convincing to people that are wanting to see me stomp meta decks or anything like that, because yeah, most of the meta decks just conceded as soon as I Bystialed them, so... Anyways, let's get into the actual replays and stop complaining and stop making excuses. Let's just show off what this deck list can do. Alright. Yeah, so I feel like this is definitely a way better way to play Kashtira currently, since Kashtira's current state, it's a little bit lackluster, but the P.U.N.K stuff with them just giving you free level 7s is just so goddamn nice. It just means you can go into level 10s extremely easily, as you will see in multiple of these replays. Alright, speaking of Kash, this is a guy trying to play Kash. Unfortunately, he didn't exactly end on any Kashtiras. Baronne De Fleur with 1 back row pass. Shit, how am I gonna play through that? Alright, so my first Kash can activate my Branded Regained. He's gonna use his Baron Negate on my spell card for some reason. Guess he was hoping that I just wouldn't have anything else here. Unicorn, he has a Crossout Designator for my Unicorn, which completely fine, I don't care. Especially considering I already have the card in hand to search for in this thing. Alright, grabbing my Foxy Tune gonna discard, discarding another card, grabbing the, I forgot the name of this card, Sharakusai. Doing the Fusion Summon, and we can get rid of the Carp and bring out the 2 monsters from the deck, the level 5 and the level 3. Of course, grabbing the Field Spell on the way past. Alright, going into a copy of my P.U.N.K Dram Dragon. God, that's so hard to say. Alright, making sure to do a chain block with the search from deck and summon from graveyard. Getting my Madame. Drawing a card because I paid life points. Special summoning from hand. Searching for the trap card. Again, paid life points, get another draw. This deck list generates so much value. This field spell was just heinously broken. Alright, summoning my P.U.N.K. Not going to use it to, by the way, keep in mind this card's effect. You can only use 1 of them per turn, of the 2 effects he's got. So I use the effect that allows me to, rather than removing the Baron on the field, I'm going to revive back the Carp from the graveyard. Because then I can use the Carp in the graveyard, as part of a Synchro Summon, to go into Psychic End Punisher, and allow this thing to have 2 attacks, because I use the Monster Reborn effect to bring back the Carp. Alright. I can use this card's effect to banish a card on the field, banish the other card, and then use my Kashtira Rebirth to revive the card we just banished. Alright, battle phase, boosting this guy to a 1 billion attack. This thing can literally attack twice, by the way, so he was guaranteed just dead. And this thing could also attack, so... yeah, it's not the greatest replay in terms of my opponent having an end field, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a small sample as to some of the stuff this deck list can do. Alright, now this is going to be showing you the Synchro Summon side of things, and so is the next replay too. This is going to be showing you one of the most optimal end boards you can make with this deck list. It is absolutely crazy sort of end fields. Alright, so I'm going to summon out my Unicorn. Unicorn, going to be searching for my copy of Birth. Activating the Birth. Activating my Teleport. Teleport summoning out my Ziadman. Getting a search. Going my Sharakusai. Getting a draw, of course. Then before we do anything else, we're going to go straight into a Baronne De Fleur. Because this basically means my opponent has a Nibiru, my opponent has a hand trap, or whatever they've got. I can just negate it. So I'm completely safe to like any sort of hand traps from now on, unless they have multiple for some reason. Alright, Lubellion, going to be discarding, searching for a copy of my Magnamhut. So my Sharakusai, fusion summoning using the card in hand. Going into my Carp. Drawing a card. Ogre Dance, discarding to get a search, because I want to darken the graveyard so I can summon my Magnamhut now. Tributing himself, bringing back the Lubellion. This of course will give me my spell card. Now we use the Carp's effect. Summoning out the 2 dudes from the deck list, level 5, level 3. Unfortunately, I already have the spell card, and I already have the trap card in hand, so I can't summon out the Searcher for the spell card, the Searcher for the trap card, because it will do nothing. I think I summoned the trap card Searcher anyway, just for having an extra name for when I summon the Synchro, or if I do summon the Synchro. Alright. Paying some life points, gonna be doing the summon from Graveyard and Search. Because we already have a level 3 in hand, we're just going to search for a copy of Ghost Ogre instead. Setting the trap card. Going to a copy of the Amazing Dragon. Now the reason I actually did this is because I slightly messed up the end field here, where I should have used the extra monster zone. Because I wanted to make sure I could have enough room on field to be able to have a level 7 come back from this birth, which you'll see in a second, and a level 3 to then go into level 10. I didn't have enough space for that, so I was like, I'll just summon this thing to the extra monster zone, then revive the thing I just sent to the graveyard, and it will still end on a roughly the same end field, just with this thing on field, rather than maybe an IP Masquerader or something. I don't even know if I could have gone into a better end field than this anyway, so either way, the end field was disgusting, so it doesn't matter. Alright, Amazing will be reviving back the potential fusion summon during my opponent's turn, or synchro summon, sorry. Reviving back the Kashtira monster. Banishing from hand, or banishing from graveyard. And there is the Sword Soul monster as well. So when all said and done, we've got, oh sorry, actually not finished yet. End of the turn, adding a Bystial to hand. So when all is said and done, we've now got a Baronne De Fleur negate, we've got a banish, we've got a fusion summon using the level 8 to go into another copy of this to remove 3 cards my opponent controls. I've got a pop to pop something, we have the Branded Regain to revive Bystials, we've got the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit for a pop, and we've got the Bystial Druiswurm in hand to banish a card, so it doesn't really get much better than this, because even if my opponent has like a Droplet or a Dark Ruler no more, it's like, we're still going to have at least 2 lots of interaction, maybe 3 lots if they're running Dark and whatever is in the graveyard. So, it's a pretty insane end field, obviously. Alright, opponent's going to use an effect. I then immediately think, oh no, he's playing Sword Soul, and then I misplay by summoning back a Bystial now, which was not a good idea, because now I can't actually activate this Druid Swarm. If he puts this thing in the graveyard, I need to banish it, so yeah, bit awkward. But then I found, oh, he's just playing, whatchamacallit, the new deck. So signing my Amazing Dragon, returning these 2 cards to hand. I'll be drawing a card off of my field spell. I actually didn't check if these cards were once per turn, I just assumed they were. And my opponent just concedes. I don't blame him. Alright. So I think most of these replays today were literally just all bullying the new deck. which is I mean, it's a good showing for this deck being a better variant of Kashtira, but yeah, Kashtira not being that great probably doesn't make this deck list look that fantastic, and we're just bullying that shit. Alright, once again going second, my opponent sets 3. Oh, this replay, okay. This replay was very silly. You'll see. Alright, activates his Labyrinth. We're gonna, of course, Ash Blossom that. We don't want that shit on the field. But he has 1 in hand anyway, so what can you do? Alright, we've still got a pretty decent hand to deal with this stuff, so it should be fine. Activating my Fenrir. He thinks I'm playing the new deck, so he chooses Exceed. Very great. Good stuff, buddy. He should have waited on this. He really should have waited. And then he activates Skill Drain. And this is where the duel becomes very, very silly. Because now I have to win with basically no monster effects. Alright. I think in hindsight, I probably should just... I don't know if I don't think I ended up going into, I don't know. I don't know what the win con here was. I was just like, I'm just going to try and build some level 10s. So using the Kashtira, using the other guy, we're going to summon out a level 10. We just need monsters with 3,000 attacks so we can compete with this thing. Alright, reviving back the Kashtira, of course, going to battle phase, beating over it, hit him in the face. And we're good. Alright, so special summon a Labyrinth from deck. Could have used the Druid Storm here to banish the dude in graveyard, but I didn't know if he was going to target or not, so I didn't bother. Bounces that one to hand, got this guy on field. Gonna be using the Welcome Labyrinth, resetting it. Beats over my Kashtira, we don't care. We can literally revive this thing every single turn, so I just don't care. Alright, draw into an Ogre Dancer. Bird's gonna be summoning back from graveyard. I'm gonna actually accidentally activate this thing. I didn't even mean to. This was a pure accident. I just clicked yes. I was like, what am I doing? Not that it matters too much, but... I think I was gonna summon this thing anyway. Activate this for no reason. And go into a second monster with 3000 attack. The Baronne De Fleur, which has no effect. Oh my god, that's insane. Alright, swing into his monster. This card will then be destroyed, removing this thing from the field. Swing into his face, force him to summon out something to protect himself. Summon another card to protect himself. We're going to beat over that card too, unless he bounces my monster. But for some reason, he chooses this one. I don't really get the reasoning behind choosing this one over the Baron, but each to his own. Anyway, beat over his monster. I know. What do you expect from a skill drain player? Like, they can't be that great at the game. Sets another card. Alright. Activates Gozen Match. Oh boy, that's very fun. I could definitely play the game now. Cannot summon this thing because I'm not able to, so I just smack him in the face. Praying to God he doesn't draw something. He activates Pot of Prosperity. I thought I was running this card. I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing Pot of Prosperity. I'm gonna cross out that. Turns out I wasn't. I'm too used to play the Kashtira deck yesterday while I was playing this card. So yep, just cross out a Maxx, I guess. I don't know. My brain is gigantic. Thankfully, he didn't hit any actual removal outside of the Welcome Labyrinth, which we don't care about too much. Alright, summoning out from my hand. Thankfully, this card's actually a wind monster, so this would be a, it could have been the end for me if this thing wasn't a wind monster. I would have to, like, swing into this thing, trade these two off, and then just, I don't know, I would summon back one of the Kashtiras and just hope he doesn't draw it well again. Alright, swinging in with the big monster, of course, forcing him to summon from hand, then we could have swung him with a Unicorn and won the game. So there you go. There's another example of me just using Kashtira to constantly recycle and actually do some synchro summons in this deck list, so... Yeah, I don't know. That was a bit of an amusing replay. Alright, this final replay, it's gonna be very boring. Extremely boring. I just wanted to show off at least one top tier deck list getting beaten. I guess Labyrinth is pretty high tier anyway, but... Yeah, this is like a pure example of the players just conceding when I get to try to have any fun, so... Alright, activating the Branded Opening, summoning the card to the field, getting a search for Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion going to be summoning out the Albion, which of course does another fusion summon as well. Summoning out the Granola Bar. Sending a card to the graveyard, sending the Lubellion to the graveyard, attributing his dragon. Searching for his Branded Regained and passing. But not before grabbing a copy of Brandon in red, which needs to target one Despia or Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard. Yeah. Anyway. Interesting. Activates Maxx. Thankfully we have a Cool by the Grave. He cross-outs me, but thankfully we have a Cool by the Grave. This is probably why you can see it just from seeing this alone. This is probably tilting him off the face of the earth. Deserved having the Maxx, to be fair. Alright. Then we're going to summon out our Fenrir. See if we can bait out any sort of removal here. Snow is going to be popping this card so we can't grab a Bystial. I don't know if this is really worth it. Maybe I should have saved the Snow for the other Branded Trap card. That might have been better. But it doesn't really matter because he just throws it out there now anyway. I guess he's just thinking I'm playing Kashtira or something. He doesn't want me to get the search off of this card to then go into whatever other combos I would have got into. So he pops that. And then because I still have full combo in hand, actually, I'm going to summon my monster, search my trap card, use the trap card as part of the combo by discarding it, summon the fusion summoning monster to the field. He summons a card that does absolutely nothing. I'm going to go into a copy of my Carp. This card we've already established does absolutely nothing. And there's full combo. And before I can do anything, my opponent concedes. So, I mean, I was probably going to win from there anyway. I had basically full combo, so there you go. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. I apologize again for the replays not being as robust, even the right word? I don't know, as eccentric, I don't know what English language I'm using right now. They're not as good as I wanted them to be, so thank you for watching anyway. Yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokaba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.